Right, shall we start? Right, so we were talking about the transportation and logistics, which is the lesson number 10 in your grade 12 syllabus. So we almost, covered the points when it comes to the transportation. And the transportation, we part cover. So we talk about the elements of a transportation system, and it's important that we have a system. It's not just that you have the most, advanced or luxury vehicles around you, right? As a mode of transport, but when there's no proper way, or when there's no, power or a terminal, so that you might end up with a lot of difficulties. So that is why all the elements need to be developed in a balanced transportation system. Right, so then we talk about how important it's for the business, right? And also transportation is a business support service, and auxiliary service ව්‍යාපාර සහාය සේවාවක්, right? උපකාරක සේවාවක්. So those side of things when it comes to the transportation. So then we came to the warehousing part. So we talk about the material purchase process, kind of a warehousing, how you do that. And plus, what are the things that you need to think before you locate your warehouse? The warehouse locate කරන්න කලින් අපි මොනවද consider කරන්න ඕනේ when it comes to a business point of view, right? නේද? පාරවල් ළඟ තියනවාද, airport එකක්, hub එකක් ළඟ තියනවාද? So those things that we have to think before we locating a warehouse. ඊට පස්සේ අපි warehouse using methods ගැන කතා කළා. Detail you can just read those. Couple of machines, equipments that you use, couple of methods that we use. And සමහර warehouse එකේ අපිට මේ විදිහටම නිකන් stock කරන්න පුළුවන්. නේද? සහල් සීනි වගේ cupboards ඇතුළේ දාලා තියන්නේ නැහැ. නේද? සමහර racks ඕනේ. Right? So මේ වගේ there are methods that we use to store the goods inside the warehouse. Right? දැන් warehouse ගැන අපි තවත් වැඩිදුර කතා කරනවා in your grade 13 syllabus, lesson number 13, operations management. So there's again a separate section for that as well. Right. එතකොට මේ lesson එකේ sections තුනක් තියෙනවා: transportation, warehousing, and now today we are about to discuss about the logistics. The logistics කියන වචනේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අහලා තියෙන වචන. Right? Logistics. නැත්නම් අපි කියන මේක supply chain management. Let me, start with you with the kind of showing some of the goods. So I have some of the goods around me. I have a pen, and I have a power bank, and I have a couple of tubes, right? So, so here's a power bank, and here's a pen, and as you know, always I carry these 3 marker pens, right? And couple of tubes. Right, couple of tubes. Now for you to tell, right? Now starting from this power bank, right, or pen. So I could simply explain the fact. මට සරලව කියන්න පුළුවන් logistics කියන්නේ, right? So you have this now this particular power bank or this particular product. And make a product which fulfills the needs of humans, and plus this is a good, right, which is tangible and everything, right? And maybe there's a manufacturer, right? Manufacturer so here we have the manufacturer, right? The logistics is all about all the goods, how it came from the point of origin. So we have something called point of origin. Right? Point of origin to the point of consumption, right? Point of origin is the point of consumption. එහෙනම් කොහොමද ඕනම good එකක් point of origin එකේ ඉඳලා point of consumption. Right. එහෙනම් මේ good එක කොහොමද? මම මේ ලියන marker pen එක, මේ use කරන power bank එක, මේ pan කොහොමද origin එකේ ඉඳලා now I am in the point of consumption, right? I'm writing something on this board using this marker pen. So I'm in the point of consumption, right? For this particular good. Ahena make origin එකේ ඉඳලා කොහොමද customer ළඟට ආවේ. So that is all about that process is all about the logistics, right? Now imagine that maybe you might had a tea or a coffee before you join the class. නැත්නම් class එක වෙලා දුනා tea එකක් coffee එකක් බොනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So imagine මේක origin එක කොහෙද එන origin එකේ ඉඳලා දැන් you are in the point of consumption. So how those goods that you deliver, correct? එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේ point of origin එකේ ඉඳලා, right? Obviously there has to be a manufacturer, right? ඕනම good එකක manufacturer කෙනෙක් ඉන්න ඕන. So here we have the manufacturer. Right? Manufacturer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. Now let's say for this marker pens I'll take a simple example, Atlas company. Right? Atlas is the manufacturer. So the point of origin to the manufacturer, there may be couple of required materials might require, right? මොනවාද? සමහරට මේ ink මේකල සමහරට import කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? Or maybe another company is producing this ink, right? The plastic, right? So whatever the ingredients or whatever the materials that they use to produce that particular product. From the point of origin, එතන තමයි origin එක තියෙන්නේ, right? එහෙනම් point of origin එකේ ඉඳලා කොහොමද point of consumption එකට යන්න කලින් මැද හම්බෙන මේන්ම තැන තමයි manufacturer. So එහෙනම් අපි divide the logistics into two types. අපි logistics කොටස් දෙකකට වෙන් කරන්න පුළුවන්. So from the point of origin to the manufacturer වෙනකම් part එක අපි ගන්නවා what we say as the inbound logistics, right? Logistics සමහරවිට මේක finish good එක වෙන්නත් පුළුවන් නා, right? එහෙනම් manufacturer මෙතන අපි හිතමු right, or a distributor නැත්නම් seller වෙන්නත් පුළුවන් sometimes, because you are not going to right manufacture all the products, right? So sometimes මේක manufacture කරන්න නැති වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, right? But anyway from the point of origin to the manufacturer ඊටගේ warehouse එකට වෙනකම් අපි කියනවා ඒක inbound logistic එකක්. Manufacturer or seller ගේ ඉඳලා යනවනේ final customer වෙනකම්. This has to be the final customer, not the intermediate customers, not the wholesaler, not the retailer. It has to be the final consumer. I'm the final consumer. I'm not gonna sell those marker pens again to another person, right? So I'm the final consumer here. So from the manufacturer's point of view, එයාගේ warehouse එකේ ඉඳලා final consumption එක යනකම් අපි කියනවා ඒක නම් outbound එකක් කියලා. So outbound logistics. So here the point of consumption, I have the final consumer, right? Final consumer. Remember that. So that we classify the logistics into two types, but there are 4 types of logistics system in your syllabus. That make ගොඩක් students ලා පටලවා ගන්න තැන, right? So when we define logistics, we divide into 2. So based on those 2 criteria, we classify 4 logistics systems. So I'll come to that part later, right? You see this one, balanced logistics කියලා අපි කියනවා, heavy inbound එකක්, heavy outbound and reverse logistics. I'll come to that part. So I'm still in the process of explaining you the concept of logistics, right? Correct. So it's all about the point of origin to the point of consumption. Now from the inbound point of view, right? හරි අපිට කවුද ඉන්න පුළුවන් එහෙනම් මේ බලන්න. So we might have suppliers. දැන් අපි suppliers ලාට තවත් ලස්සන නමක් කියනවා vendors ලා කියන නේද? vendor කියන වචනේ. vendor. So we might have here to provide to produce this particular marker pen, you have this set of suppliers to the Atlas company, who is the manufacturer, right? So they are not in a position to produce all the materials that they require, right? Obviously, they will, order from the external parties. So like you see, you have this part. In අපිට මෙතන ගන්න පුළුවන් vendors ලා, right? Another word I would say that you can take the suppliers, right? Suppliers when එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. So you have the vendors, නැත්නම් suppliers ලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්. So suppliers of raw materials. Right? Suppliers of raw materials. Now, this explanation is based on the product atlas, right? And my product is marker pens, whiteboard pens, right? Remember. එතකොට atlas එක as far as I know, ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහෙන්වත් මේ හදපු marker pens අරගෙන නෙමෙයි sell කරන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ හදනවා. මොනවා හරි product එකක් ඒගොල්ලෝ හදපු දෙයක් ගන්නවා නම් මෙතනින් ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට raw materials නෙමෙයි finished good එකම ගන්න පුළුවන්. So what I'll explain using this one. So here you have the vendors or the suppliers of the raw materials. Right? So suppliers like කීප දෙනෙක් ඉන්න පුළුවන්. So then they reach the manufacturer. Right? They reach the manufacturer. So here you have the Atlas company's warehouse. දැන් එකපාරට JIT වගේ system. In the future, we'll be studying about a system called JIT. Make a materials ටික warehouse එකක තිබිලා තමයි එතනින් තමයි ඔයා ගන්න production එකට. Right? So you get the production. In our vendors of suppliers laging raw materials in our කොහෙටද Atlas ළඟ, right? So here you have the Atlas company. Right. එහෙනම් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ warehouse වල මේකේ තියෙන ink වෙන්න පුළුවන්, plastic වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So whatever the raw materials, whatever the suppliers, they store. So they have their warehouse. And so warehouse එකේ පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ production flow එකට යනවා. So then they produce, they do a production. Right? So then only it reach to the end customer. එහෙනම් මේක එකපාරට මට එන්නෙත් නෑ නේද manufacturer එකකින්. කෙලින්ම මට Atlas එකෙන් ගෙදරට ගෙනල්ලා දෙන්නෙත් නෑ. මම Atlas එකට ගිහිල්ලා ගන්නෙත් නෑ. So then you know the process. Maybe there could be agents, right? And agents ලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්. So I'm now explaining කොහොමද finished good එක point of consumption එකට යන්නේ. Finished good එක කොහොමද point of consumption. right? මම මේක පොඩ්ඩක් මෙතන erase කරලා තව පොඩ්ඩක් ඉඳ ගන්නම්. So here you have the Atlas company. Right? Correct. එහෙනම් මේ විදිහට vendors ලගේ suppliers ලගේ materials ටික එනවා company එකට. So they do the production. එහෙනම් මේ production එක maybe there's a less chance නේද? factory එකකින් කෙලින්ම අපිට එන්න තියෙන chance එකක් අඩුයි. හැබැයි එහෙම instance උත් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ගොඩක් අය සමහර as far as I know Orange company ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්න Orange Electricals ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සමහර ඒ plants වල factories වල තියෙනවා පොඩි outlet එකක discounted outlets කියලා කියන්නේ නේද? ඒතකොට එතනින්ම ගිහලා ගන්න chance එකකුත් තියෙනවා. But it's kind of a special instance. Right. හරි. එහෙනම් මෙතනින් යන්න පුළුවන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට agent කෙනෙක්ට. Right? Agent getting passe maybe to a stationery wholesale කරන කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? I think you have a trouble with the space. Right. Okay. I'll print it there. Right. So here you have the vendors. Emanatang suppliers of raw materials. Right. And here you have the company or the manufacturer. Right. So as my example, Atlas, who is the manufacturer? So they do provide the materials, right? Or I would say something like ink, or maybe something like plastic, right? So whatever the, or maybe some sort of coloring things, right? Kind of dyes, right? Coloring materials to get those colors, right? Something like that. Correct. Good. එහෙනම් මේ විදිහට මෙන්න දැන් final product එකක් මෙතනින් එළියට යනවා. කවුද එහෙනම් මොකද්ද final product එක? Marker pens, right? So final product is the marker pen. Whiteboard markers. Right? මේන එකපාරට අපි අතට එන්නේ නැහැ. This part you know, right? So maybe go to the agents, right? කවුරු හරි agents ලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්. Agent ගෙන් maybe go to the wholesaler. Or maybe from the wholesaler's point of view to go to the retailer, right? Retailer යන්න පුළුවන්. From the retailer only that I get the product. The bookshop එක කියන්නේ retailer, right? So maybe wholesaler යන්න පුළුවන්. Wholesaler ගෙන් මේක යනවා retailer ට. So from the retailer I receive the product as the final consumer. නේද? මම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට bookshop එකකින් අරගෙන ආපහු විකුණන්න very less chances there. So then I have this final consumer, right? When the mama final consumer වෙනවා. Now you see the point of origin. මේ කොහේ හරි origin එකක් වෙනවා. දැන් හිතන්න ලංකාවේ හදන ටී නේද? යනවනේ ලෝකේ හැමතැනටම නේද? අපි හිතමු ලංකාවේ යන තේ යනවා එංගලන්තේ. නේද? එංගලන්තේ ජාතිකයේ තේ එකක් පොද්දී ඒකේ origin එක කොහෙද එනවා? origin එක නේද? නුවරඑළිය වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ගෝල් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ටී ස්ටේට් එකක තමයි මේක origin එක උනේ. නේද? එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ අර තේ දලු නෙලලා ඒක දෙනවා factory එකකින් production එකක් කරනවා. නේද? production එකක් කළා අපි දමු ඩිල්මා වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සේස්ටා වෙන්න පුළුවන්, whatever the manufacturer. නේද? එහෙනම් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ through නේද tea agents ලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්, tea wholesalers ලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්, tea exporters ලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්. නේද? ලොකු අටයක් ගිහලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට export product එකක් නා. නේද? export එකෙන් ගිහලා ඊට පස්සේ ඒ country එකේ ඇති export importers ලා නේද? ඒගොල්ලෝ agents ලාට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Wholesaler finally tea එකක් බොද්දී එනම් මෙතන origin එක ගොඩාක් දුර ඈත country එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So there could be long journey for a product. Correct. දැන් සමහර products උත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ use කරන එම ලොකු long journey එකකින් ආපු goods වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So that could happen when you come to the logistics. So here you have the point of origin, right? Origin එකේදී මෙන්න මෙතන atlas වලින් manufacturer ට වෙනවා. So මේ process එකේදී depend, right? Product to product depend වෙන්න පුළුවන්. කොහොමද මෙතන අපි බලන්නේ කොහොමද manufacturer එකේ ඉඳලා final consumer එක යන්නේ තාක්කා. එහෙනම් මෙතනට වෙනකම්ම inbound. Why? The product has not been produced yet. Correct? So that's why we call as the inbound. මෙතනින් පස්සේ finished product එක තමයි එළියට යන්නේ. හැබැයි මේක තාම final consumer නෙමෙයි නේද? මෙහෙම ගිහිල්ලා so you got the final consumer. So that's what the outbound logistics is all about. Right. So shall we take this first? So then I'll come to the types of logistics systems. So what you need to do, you know the process, transportation and logistics, day 3. So here's the day plan and here's my explanation. So you can take everything, and if you find any trouble with my handwriting, please let me know. If you have any unclear points, so then I can explain it again. Right. Shall I give you like 5 minutes for this? So then we will come to the types of logistic systems. So here what we have is a point of consumption. So starts from the origin and going to the point of consumption. And this is what is the one of example. What you see below is the example. Right, guys, I hope you're done with this, and let me share a video which explains this process.
If your customer, what if your customer wants to place an order? To reach your customer on time, every time. And you do it the cheapest way possible. What if you had the best rates you could get from your freight providers? And when you're shipping with them, your guys at the shipping dock can print labels and documents with a click of a button. What if your customers can track orders and you get electronic proof of delivery? Better yet, your freight invoices are electronic too, and you get them sorted by GL code, product type, SKU, or any business rule. What if you could run a bunch of what-ifs on this logistics data, your big data? How about moving your product from one warehouse to another? How about moving the warehouse itself? How much would that save? What would all of this mean to your bottom line? What if you could get answers at the speed of questions? Stop wondering. Start working with us. We are Total Logistics.
Yeah, sorry about that. The sound, I think, did play as I expected. Now, the longer the cycle that you get, the more cost that you will incur. මේ cycle එක ලොකු වෙන cost එක incur වෙනවා වැඩි. අනිත් එක when it comes to the final consumer, he'll have a lot of price. So he has to pay the price at the point of consumption, right? And also, the longer the cycle takes, it takes more time to get the product to the final stage. So there are some products that you can, order instantly, but there are some products that you cannot, do like, you cannot do like that. So it takes months. So if you order now, it takes months to, come to this point, to reach the point of consumption or to the, final consumer. So that is what we need to discuss. Right, now we talk about those two types, and let me provide you how your syllabus define the concept of logistics. So you all can take this. Let me share this to the screen first. So this is what it describes, the process of logistics. Can you all please take this? Logistics is the process of the planning and implementation of the flow of the goods, services, and the relevant information forwards and backwards from the point of origin to the point of consumption efficiently and effectively, with the aim of ensuring the fulfillment of the consumer needs and wants. So this process has to, satisfy the consumer. Why I'm telling like that? Or maybe once you receive the product, right? So everything that you plan is over. Or maybe that the no longer that you required it, the moment that you receive the product. So there could be chances like that. So to minimize those, to minimize the customer dissatisfaction. දැන් සමහරවිට අපි මොනාරි නේද online order කරාම ඉන්නේ නැහැ. සති ගණන් මාස ගණන් යනවා. So could be something like this. So we get disappointed about that. So especially nowadays, the logistics matters a lot. Because of people are moving to the digitalization, people are moving to the e-businesses, e-commerce, concept like that. So this plays a important role. So that is why the organizations, Just try to focus on those, how they could improve the logistics. And this is also one of a good point to expand the market. So you have a good logistics cycle is that you have a wider market. So the wider market access could be granted, when you have a proper logistics system. And sometimes the global logistics system also have an impact with the national or the in a particular country's logistics system. International logistics system obviously as a local that will be impact. So that is there. So when we are moving forward with the globalization, but this is what you can take. So it's all about how you manage the stuff. So it could be the flow of the goods, right? So information forwards, backwards, communicate karagena. So how you get the product, so from the point of origin to the point of consumption. So how you manage that process. And one interesting story to tell you, you all know Switzerland is famous for chocolates, right? But the amazing fact is that they don't have any single cocoa production in their country. They don't have cocoa at all, right? So they import from the African countries. So imagine the world famous for producing chocolates, but even without having a single cocoa tree in their country. So how they manage these logistics? Swiss chocolates origin right? So from the point where they import those set of cocoas to the country. Have a manufacturing part country the globally produced. So there are so many examples like that. So right after that, shall we write two subtopics called inbound, and we like a short explanation about that as well. Inbound and inbound logistics, then outbound logistics. Inbound and outbound logistics. I believe you are done with writing the definition. So this is how the logistics is being defined in your syllabus. Shall we move to the inbound and the outbound logistics? So right after that, we can come to the 4 types of logistics systems. So this total system of logistics, like I said, has to be satisfy the final consumer. So then only this efficiently and effectively could be measured, right? Let me come back to the whiteboard. So please make sure that you are aware about that. So what happens in then and there in this process? Somehow it should have the capabilities to fulfill the requirements of the final consumer. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයාලට මොන logistic system එකක් තිබුණත් වැඩක් නැහැ. You are not in a position to satisfy the final consumer. So that's what all matters, right? So the logistic system has to be designed in order to fulfill the requirement of the final consumer. So that is more important. Correct. So it's explaining the definition as well. Right. So coming back to those two types of this part. So how you divide the logistics. So this is all about it. The movement of raw material or finished goods, or it could be sometime raw material, like I said, the example that I just took, or could be a finished good sometime. From the point of purchase to the point of production, right? Point of origin negative, then point of production negative. So that is all about the inbound logistics. So we have the inbound logistics. And then, so once you are done with the product, once you are done with the production, now you have a finished product with you in your warehouse, in the manufacturer's place. So now the movement of supplying the products or the relevant information from the end of the production process to the final consumer. So that is what we know as the outbound, right? So here, so from the manufacturer, from the supplier's point of view to the manufacturer, that is the inbound. And so once you're done with the production, so until it reaches the final consumer, that's all the things related to that is the outbound logistics. Now I'll explain this in a more detailed manner because a lot of students get they get confused when they are mentioning the thing as finished goods. Either method finished goods are right? So let me explain. So that is why depend on organization to organization. Let me come up with an example. You are not always producing the product. Right? When you say a supermarket, right? So what they are doing? It's a supermarket take a logistic එක හැදෙන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒගොල්ලන් inbound එකේ තමයි finished good එක එන්නේ. නේද? ඒගොල්ලන්ට කාගිල්ස් එකකින් ice cream දෙනවා, Maliban එකෙන් biscuit දෙනවා, නේද? සහල් වලින් නේද? ඔය නිපුණ අරලි වලින් සහල් දෙනවා. ඒකට ඒගොල්ලෝ production එකක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. But they also do have inbound logistics. So that's what they mean. The movement of raw material, or depend on the types of the business, it could be sometimes the finished product as well that you get into your warehouse. And then until it reaches the final consumer, so that's all comes under the outbound logistics. Let me give you another 1 minute for this. Right. Let me explain that. You might have a question. Why there's a finished product? Hari, can I take an example? So now this is the logistic, the map when it comes to the Atlas company. Now imagine, so the marker pens also available in the supermarkets. Now, if we try to draw the logistic map of the supermarket, right? Correct. So here, so then they do not engage with any production. Now, this is the logistic system when it comes to the manufacturer, right? So here it's Kids or Food City or Laugh or whatever the supermarket, right? So they also do have an inbound and the outbound, right? Correct. So likewise, so now their inbound is, or maybe from the agents that they are purchasing, or maybe from the stationery wholesalers. Now let's say there's a Atlas agent called XY Stationaries. So XY Stationaries is an agent or a wholesaler who distribute stationaries to the whole supermarkets in a particular area, right? So now they are purchasing, now the point of purchase. Now they are purchasing a finished good. It doesn't matter, right? Logistic and raw material. So now they are producing finished good. So now, until it's reached from this particular distributor, so now they receive a finished good of marker pens or the stationaries. And now they have their warehouse from or their warehouse or their outlet or showroom. So then it reaches the final customer, right? So that has to be the outbound. So that is why they mention as the finished good as well. Correct. I think now it's clear for you. Now, based on this inbound and outbound criteria, so they have come up with 4 types of logistic systems. Let me explain, right? So based on this inbound and outbound concept, so you need to have a solid understanding about what is inbound and what is outbound. Now, based on that, so here they have come up with a balanced logistic system. They have a heavy inbound, heavy outbound, and a reverse logistic system. So it's very easy that you remember those with the relevant examples. Examples kita matak tiyagatana that day lazy. So let me draw like this. So this, if it is the manufacturer, then මෙතන manufacturer නම් ඉන්නේ මම මේ විදිහට ගන්නවා, right? මේ විදිහට balance එකක් ගන්න හදන්න. එහෙනම් මෙතන ඉන්නවා කවුද? Manufacturer. Let's assume manufacturer. එහෙනම් ඔයා දන්නවා manufacturer ට එනකම්ම මොනවද? මේ පැත්ත inbound. මේ පැත්ත outbound, right? That balance එකේ තියෙන්නේ. මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්න suppliers ලා, මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්න end consumer වෙනකම්. හරි. Now what is about this first one? A balanced logistic system. මොකද balanced logistic system කියන්නේ? The inbound is also important than the outbound, and the outbound also important, like the inbound. එහෙනම් මේ inbound එකයි outbound එකයි දෙකම එක විදිහට වැදගත්. දෙකම එක විදිහට complicated. නැත්නම් දෙකම එක විදිහට සරලයි. ඒකනේ මේක balance වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. right? හරි. මම මේකට example එක දෙන්න කලින් මම මේව සරල example එකක් කියන්නද ඔයාලට. හරි. මේක අහන්න එන්න. So then you can easily understand this. Imagine selling an airplane. The airplane එකක් aircraft එකක් විකුණන එකද අමාරු හදන එකද අමාරු කියලා අහුවොත් මොනවාද වගේ උත්තරේ? Shall we use the chat box? What is more difficult, to sell an aircraft or to manufacture an aircraft? What do you think? It could be aircraft or a cruise. The ship එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැවක් විකුණන එකද අමාරු නැවක් හදන එකද? Aircraft එකක් හදන එකද අමාරු විකුණන එකද? What do you think? Let's say මොනවාද ඔයගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ? Manufacture. Okay, manufacture. අනිවාර්යයෙන්. Why? එහෙනම් ඔයාලට පේනවා නේද මේ manufacture කරන්න ලොකු process එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා? Because you need to got a lot. හරි. දැන් මෙහෙම නැවක් විකුණන්නේ මෙහෙමද? හරිද? aircraft එකක් විකුණනද wholesalers ලට යනවාද? එතනින් agents ලට යනවාද? එතනින් මේ showrooms වලට යනවාද? නෑ නේද? මේ ඔක්කොම pre-orders. ඒ නිසා it takes only seconds to sell it. But inbound පැත්ත වැඩි කියලා වඩා පේනවා. මේකට ගොඩාක් materials ඕනේ. Like millions of components. ඒ නිසා මේක selling part එක, ඒ කියන්නේ මේක හදාගත්තට පස්සේ එළියට දාන්න ලොකු අමාරුවක් නැහැ. නේද? එහෙනම් අපි ඒ වගේ එකට කියනවා මොනවාද? heavy inbound එකක් කියලා. heavy තමයි. ඒක inbound එක තමයි heavy. right? හරි මේ බලන්න මම දැන් මේ හතරම මේන් පල්ලෙහාට හැන්දොත් ඔයාලට වැඩේ ලේසි. right. මේ බලන්න එනවා. So I'm going to remove this part. Make up already kata karappu nisa. So I'm going to write, draw those. So then it's easy. Balance ekata inna kalin anith heavy inbound, heavy outbound එකකින් පටන් ගත්තොත් වැඩේ ලේසි. හරි. එහෙනම් මේ බලන්න heavy inbound එකක් මොන වගේ ඇතිද එහෙනම්? heavy inbound කිව්වොත් inbound එක වැඩිනේ. outbound එක ලේසි. right? හරි. ඒතකොට heavy inbound කියන්නේ මේ විතරනේ දෙන්නේ අන්දොත්. right, inbound එක heavy නිසා right මේ විදිහට නේද දැන් මේ පැත්ත බර වැඩිනේ right මේ පැත්ත බර වැඩි right එහෙනම් මෙන්න මම කියන inbound heavy inbound එකක් inbound එක වැඩි නිසා බර වැඩි වෙනවා මේ පැත්ත ලේසි outbound එක right correct heavy outbound එකක් කියනකොට එහෙනම් මොන වගේ දෙන්නේ right. දන්නවා නේද? මේ පැත්තට එතකොට. right? So why the outbound එක බර වැඩි නිසා මේ පැත්ත ඉස්සෙනවා. So here you have the outbound. මේ පැත්තේ තියෙන inbound එක. inbound එක. right? මම මේක name කරොත් මෙතන you get the balance one. නැත්නම් මම මේක number කරන්න ලේසි නේද? So 1 2 3 4. So here you got the 1 2 3 and here let me draw the fourth one. Fourth one එක පොඩි වෙනසක් තියෙනවා. මේක reverse එකක් තියෙන reverse logistic system එකක්. right? මම මේ විදිහට පොඩි reverse එකක් දාන්න. හරි. අපි මේ විදිහට තියෙනවා. මෙතනින් in වෙන එක මෙතනින් in වෙන එක මෙතනින් out වෙලා නවතින්නේ නැහැ. ආපහු මෙතනට එනවා. පොඩි රිවර්ස් එකක් ගන්න. ඔක තමයි රිවර්ස්. හරි. now මේ බලන්න. අපි මෙතනින් පටන් ගමුද වැඩේ ලේසි. or ලේසි පැහැදිලි. මොනවාද මේ heavy inbound එකක් කියන්නේ inbound එක හරියම අමාරුයි. මේ බලන්න එනවා. මොකද්ද මගේ example එක? aircraft, cruise line, ship, right? Apartment, whatever the kind of production. එහෙනම් බලන්න මෙතනට වෙනකන් inbound එක හරිම අමාරුයි. මොනවාද you need to have 1000 suppliers. බලන්න නේද aircraft එකකට shift එකේ කොච්චර දේවල් ඕනද කියලා. right? Even sometimes when I watch a couple of videos from YouTube, I realize that, right? Even the elevators that you have to fix, right? Even some back branches are there in a cruise line. So millions of suppliers who provide the thing. So it's very complicated to manage everything. You need to have the food suppliers. Even the salons are there inside the cruise line. So so many things. So it's kind of very complicated. Inbound. Have product it's just a matter of selling it. Aircraft another agent wholesaler retail shops the aircraft sell කරන vehicles car sales have you ever seen a aircraft sale like that, right? No, you could have pre-orders to the airlines, so it's just easy that you sell it. So which belongs to the heavy inbound category. Heavy inbound එකක්. Right. So since we discussed about the heavy inbound, මම heavy outbound එකටත් එන්න දෙනවා. මොකද heavy outbound කියලා කියන්නේ inbound එක එච්චර අමාරු නෑ එහෙනම්. But imagine something like you are in the business of manufacturing weapons, explosive items. සමහර ලංකාවේ නම් permission නෑ, but in other countries, you get a license to produce weapons, right? So weapons, plus samaramari, kind of chemicals, right? Explosive items. Maybe some sort of medicine, samara behet penna pula. Metanadi outbound එක හරිම අමාරුයි, right? Make a end consumer වෙනකන් දෙන්න, you need to you have to follow a lot of procedures, right? And also the high risk is involved. Right? ඔයාලා වගේ කියන්න වෙයි මොනාරි outbound එක හරියට යන එක exclusive items. එහෙම වෙලා තියෙනවා. I don't know you whether you remember this. There was an incident, I think maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I'm not exactly sure about the time period. I think that's happened in the country, in a Middle East country. Even I'm not sure about the country. Oman or Lebanon kind of a country. මේගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ අවුරුදු ගාණක්ම warehouse එකක store කරලා තිබිලා තියෙනවා මේ explosive items. ඒ warehouse එක අතහැරලා දාලා කියන කාලයත් එක අතහැරලා දාලා, but they have forgotten that they have stored those explosive items. නේද? පුපුරණ ද්‍රව්‍ය මොනාරි වෙඩි බෙහෙත් හරි something like this. ඒක වරායි close to the harbor. So ඊට පස්සේ මේ අවුරුදු ගානකට පස්සේ ඒකේ ලොකු explosive එකක් වෙලා ඒ city එකේ නිකන් කැලක්ම ගැලවිලා ගියා වගේ වුණා, right? So unexpectedly එකපාර. So you see that the risk involved, right? So outbound is pretty much complicated. That's some other medicines වගේ දෙයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So very complicated that you do the outbound, right? So that you get an idea. හරි මම මේකත් explain කරන්නද? When it comes to the reverse logistic කියන්නේ inbound එකෙන් manufacturer එකට ගිහිල්ලා outbound උත් ගිහිල්ලා ආපහු reverse එකක් ගහලා ඒක එනවා කාටද? ආපහු inbound එකට එනවා. Now something like we say as to the litro or the laugh gas production. අන්තිමට product එක එනවා නේද? ඒක මෙතනට එන්නත් පුළුවන්. supplier නැත්තම් reverse එකක් ගහලා manufacturer එකට විතරක් එන්නත් පුළුවන්. දැන් gas cylinder එක වගේ ඉන්න manufacturer එකනේ. gas cylinder එක ආපහු මොනාරි මේ gas කියන Middle East country එකට යවන්නේ නැහැ නේද? දැන් ඉස්සරහට ඇමරිකාව නේද? එහෙම යවන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙනම් මෙතනදී product එක ආපහු manufacturer. මෙතන තියෙන manufacturer this is M for manufacturer. නැත්තම් you might think what is this triangle is all about නේද? නැත්තම් මේ ත්‍රිකෝණය මොකක්ද කියලා බලයි. හරි. තව මොනවාද? අපි ගත්තොත් සමහර the beverages, some soft drinks වගේ දාවගත්තොත් අර මේ Highland වගේ milk තියෙනනේ bottle එකේ එන එක. So bottle has to be revised to the it has to be again hand over to the manufacturer. මොනවද ඒ වගේ products තව තියෙන්නේ? So you got the gas cylinders. Obviously you cannot keep the gas cylinder. අර පහුගිය දවස්වල මතකනේ gas cylinder color කරලා තිබුණා. නිල් පාට ඒවා කහ පාට ගාලා කහ පාට ඒවා නිල් පාට ගාලා තිබුණා. Right. So what is something like that? You have to again hand over once you have consumed it. But it's reverse එකක්. Soft drinks, beverages, and then gas, right? products like that. නැත්නම් සමහරව මොනාරි restaurant එකකින් මොනාරි සවාන එකක් අය ගත්තත් that you get that plate. So you know, anyway, that's a kind of a reverse outbound නේද? නැත්නම් මොනාරි නේද? අල්ලපු ගෙදරකින් හරි මොනාරි කෑම එකක් ලැබුණා නේද? You have to return this, you know, the plate, right? Not just the empty plate. So it's, you know, something like that. So you have the reverse. මොනවාද මේ balance output එකක් නැත්නම් මේ balance logistic එකද වෙන්නේ input එකත් complicated output එකත් complicated. මේක ගොඩාක්ම වැටෙන්නේ FMCG category. What do you mean by FMCG? Does anyone knows the meaning of FMCG? මම හිතන්නේ මේක මම කලින් just mention කරලා තියෙනවා. What do you think? FMCG products. Any answer? The meaning of FMCG? FMCG क्या मुकाबले? Right. Okay. Nowadays, kids, it's a matter of googling it, right? You know everything, right? Everything is there in the Google. FMCG. බලන්න FMCG කියලා ගහලා මොනවද දෙන්නේ කියලා. Right. What do you think? Yes, it's all about the fast moving consumer goods. And FMCG කියන්නේ මේ තමයි fast moving consumer goods. Right. හරිද මම මේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් කියවුවා. Imagine you know, when you're watching television, right? I'm not recommending to watch television, right? ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මම මේ ප්‍රැක්ටිකල් දකින්න දෙයක් ටීවී බලද්දී මට නම් ටීවී බලපු කාලයක් මතක නෑ අන්තිමට ටීවී බලද්දී ගොඩක්ම දකින්න දෙයක් තමයි ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට්ස් යනවානේ මොන ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් වැඩිපුරම යන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කන්සියුමර් ප්‍රොඩක්ට්ස් නැව් විකුණනවා කියලා ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් යනවාද ටීවී එකේ right එයාක්‍රාෆ්ට් විකුණනවා කියලා යනවාද ටීවී එකේ නෑ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට යන්නේ මොනවද සබන් දිනවා ෂැම්පූ දිනවා right what else මොනාරි ඒ වගේ so high competitive market එකක් තියෙනවා එහෙනම් මේ balanced logistic system එකේ වෙන්නේ අපි හිතමු to produce some sort of a consumer goods it's require more materials now for example if you take a company like Unilever so they produce lot of consumer goods ඒක තමයි FMCG leading එක දැන් බලන්න Unilever products රෙදි හොදන සබන් එකේ ඉඳලා sunlight වල ඉඳලා right ඔලුවට ගන්න shampoo එකේ ඉඳලා so lot of products range is there මෙතනදී ඒගොල්ලන්ට inbound එකක් අමාරුයි හැම materials ගොඩාක් හොයා ගන්න වෙයි right ඒත් එක්කම මේක එකපාරට final customer ට දෙන්නත් බෑ නේද අපි යන්නේ නැහැ shampoo bottle එකක් ගන්න යනවාද factory එකට නෑ හැබැයි aircraft එකක් order කරද්දී නේද factory එකට ගිහිල්ලා ගන්න වෙයි මේ විදිහට ඒ නිසා මෙතනදී you have to get a lot of intermediaries to get the final product to the final consumer. එහෙනම් බලන්න shampoo bottle එකක් bars of soap final customer ට යන්නේ කී දෙනෙක්ගේ අතට ගිහිල්ලාද? එහෙනම් agent ඉන්නා agent ගෙන් wholesaler ට යනවා wholesaler ගෙන් retailer retailer ගෙන් finally reach the customer. So it's not easy. It's not easy to do the production. And it's not easy to either, to hand over the final product to the customer. So a lot of, not the stakeholders, but a lot of parties are involving, right? So this is come to the balanced one, right? Heavy inbound, heavy outbound මතකයි නේ එතනින් මේ දෙක මතක් කරගන්න පුළුවන්, right? අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් මේකත් draw කරගමු, right? Not much compulsory, but I believe it provide kind of an idea to you. Right. So then we'll write more examples. We'll come one by one and we'll write a small definition for each system. Guys, today we are completing this lesson now. අද අපි මේ lesson එක ඉවර කරනවා. Lesson number 10. So the only pending lesson is the lesson number 9. Probably අපිට Monday මේකේ past paper discussion එක කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකේ පොඩි වෙලාවක් ඉතුරු. ඒතර අපිට communication එදාම පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Introduction එකක් වගේ දීලා lesson එක පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right, so let me give like another 1 minute and then we'll write a short explanation about what's a balanced logistics system. Shall I share the screen? Balanced logistics system. The similar flows of a flow from the raw material, products up to the firm, and flow to the consumer after the production. Right? Flow එකයි, inflow එකයි, outflow එකයි දෙකම අමාරුයි. Especially the consumer goods. An example එකක් තමයි තව FMCG goods especially FMCG goods FMCG goods ලියන්න ඕනේ. මොකද the meaning is that fast moving consumer goods. Fast moving consumer goods. ඉක්මනට move වෙනවනේ තියෙන්නේ. දැන් aircraft මේ වගේ දේවල් FMCG products නෙමෙයි. Right? මොකද මේව නිතර move වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේද? මට sales වෙන්නේ right? So very less number of sales, but in terms of amount that is high. And දැන් සබන්කට මිලියන ගාණක් විකුණන්න වෙයි aircraft එකේ profit එක ගන්න. But that is just one product that they are selling. So the similar flows of the flow from the raw material products up to the firm. And the firm එක වෙනකන් එන එකයි firm එකේ ඉඳලා යන එකයි දෙකම equal weightage එකක් තියෙනවා. Right, so coming to the second one, which is the heavy inbound and heavy outbound. It's very easy, like I say, to remember one of example. Example එකක් මතක තියාගත්තා නම් lazy. So you got the heavy inbound and heavy outbound. So when you come to this part, so it could be aeroplanes, could be cruise lines, could be ships, right? Or could be producing constructions ගොඩක් වෙලා building එකක් හදන්නෙම කලින් නේද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ plan එකකටනේ. So ඒක sell කරන්න ලොකු අමාරුවක් වෙන, especially construction of buildings, apartments, construction of buildings අමාරු නේද building එකක් හදන්න ගොඩාක් quarter fully commercial building එකක් ගැන හිතන්න, a lot of equipments, materials, right? Nowadays not possible in Sri Lanka because of the cementing, right? No cementing at all, right? The manufacturing process of the aeroplanes is complex because the various firms and the various countries even are connected, right? So various suppliers from different parts. Like the seats in the වෙන රටකින් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, මේකට paint එක වෙන රටකින්, a lot of things that you fit into this part. So complex. So various suppliers, firms are interconnected, right? But the processing, the selling the aircraft is not so complex. That is the key point. But the other way around happen when you come to the heavy outbound. So something like chemicals, right? And something like weapons, explosive items. Shall we add more examples? Right, weapons, explosive items. So මෙතන outbound එක අමාරුයි. හැදුවට පස්සේ තමයි දැන් ඔයා දන්නා නේද in chemistry, chemicals, මේ chemicals කියන මොනවාරි එකතු වුණොත් මේ වැඩේ අමාරු වෙන්නේ නේද? As far as අපි කියන්නේ what do you call those guys, you might remember those words, right? නේද? මොන හරි දෙයක් ඒ හදන දේවල් ටික වෙන වශයෙන් තියෙන තාක්කල් ඔයාලට ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? මේ ඔක්කොම එකට හැදුවට පස්සේනේ ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙන්නේ. මොන හරි අපි හිතමු kind of a chemical නේද? chemicals ගොඩක් එකතු වුණාට පස්සේනේ product එක හැදෙන්නේ. නිසා chemicals වෙනම තියෙන තාක්කල් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි මේක හැදුවට පස්සේ තමයි තියාගන්න අමාරු. right? So that is what we need to consider. So එතන ඉඳලා මේක final consumer ට deliver කරනකම් the complex, right? The process is complex. Let me show you a video when you come to the heavy inbound, right? At the time lapse of production of a ship. You realize how complicated that process is. But the selling is right, just easy. Just matter of selling, but to construct, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of cost and the procedures that you will have to follow. Right, again, there's no sound at all. So I'm playing without sounds. So for this type of production, we known as a fixed position layout. So those things will be studied in your grade 13 syllabus, the operations management. Again, ඔක්කොම එක තැනක ඉඳලා production එක වෙන්නේ fixed position layout එකක්. And one product, the unit is one, right? The number of units produced is just one. But for that, it takes a lot of time to produce the thing, right? The celebrations are going, but it takes a lot of time. Right, so that's all about it. So again, coming back to this part, for those who could not complete, please make sure you complete, and then we move to the final one, the reverse logistic system. Reverse එකට යන්න හදන්නේ. Reverse logistic system, the packages like gas cylinders that will be handed over again, right? So there's a reverse is there. You can ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේක manufacturer එකට තමයි ආපහු reverse වෙන්නේ. You know, this part. තවත් අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් soft drinks, beverages. හැබැයි soft drinks කියවම අර plastic bottle වල තියෙන එක ගන්න බෑ. ඒක ආපහු හැබැයි ඒකත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර ඒගොල්ලෝම recycle කරනවා. But the soft drinks bottles කියලා මම ගන්න the soft drinks bottles ගොඩක් වෙලාවට නේද Coca-Cola, Sprite මේව ආපහු the glass bottle කියලා මම ගන්නවා glass bottles ආපහු මේගොල්ලෝ ඒක collect කරගන්න. So there's a reverse apart from the gas cylinders. Right, shall we quickly take this? Right, now another two things to discuss, the necessity and the benefits of having a reliable logistic system. So you have to first select what is the logistic system that you need to follow and what's the necessity, right? How important is that for your business. So we'll discuss that part as well. Right. Now, what is the necessity? I may with the proper logistic system එකක් ඕන වෙන්නේ. A lot of reasons. අපි කියන්න පුළුවන් to get the right product නේද? Right product එක නැත්නම් right material වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. To get the right product or right material to the right place at the right time, right? At the right quantity. අඩුවෙන් ගේන්නත් බෑ. The quantity එක තිබුණා කියලා quality එක නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙනම් right quality. So with the right price, right කීපයක් තියෙනවා. So imagine that you are a manufacturer. Yeah, so the right materials need to come. Right? Where the materials ගේන්න බෑ. එහෙනම් right material එක right place එකට ගේන්න ඕනේ. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ warehouse එකට manufacturing place එකට ගේන්න වෙනවා. Right time එකට මේක එන්නත් ඕනේ. There would be a lot of problems that you might have to face when there's a time gap. Why? The machineries or the employees might be idling. What I mean by idling is that they are staying without doing any work because they cannot do work, they cannot perform their work when they do not have the materials. Now imagine a garment factory where they are lacking of fabrics, right, or the clothing materials. ඒගොල්ලන්ට මහන්න රෙදි නැහැ. එහෙනම් රෙදි නැතුව machines employees la උඩ බලාගෙන තමයි ඉන්න වෙන්නේ. So then there's an idling time could be created. Not good for the organization. Still they have to incur for the electricity and wages. And it's a fault of the management or the fault of the business, not a fault of an employee. So it's a cost. So getting the right time. Imagine when you fail to get the materials at the right time, which means the fact that your orders would be also, there would be a time gap. There would be you are not in a position to meet the deadlines. Or maybe you have to, use the overtime. So you might ask your employees to work overtime. So then there would be extra payment for the overtime as well. So finally, the end customer will not satisfy because then there's a time gap. So it's important. Now this is a whole chain when it comes to the logistics. Logistics with whole chain. මේ කොහේ හරි block එකක් වුණොත් නේද මේ විදිහට මේ chain එකේ inbound එකේ ඉඳලා outbound එක වෙනකම් මෙන්න මේ යන chain එකේ කොහේ හරි තැනක block එකක් වුණොත් it going to impact. Example එකක් විදිහට materials producer කෙනෙක්ගේ block එකක් වුණොත් ඒක පස්සේ ඒක එහෙමම තියනවා manufacturer ඊට පස්සේ order එක late වෙලා wholesale එකට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ සමහරවිට කියන්නේ දර gas ප්‍රශ්නදී නේද නැවක් නැව එනවලු එන්නේ නැල්ලු ඩොලර් නැල්ලු එක එක කතා කරන්නේ නේද. එතකොට මේ gas නැහැ. අන්න chain එක block වෙලා අපිට දැන් practically දකින්නක් තියෙන දේවල්. Something like that. දැන් cement වෙලත් සමහරට එන materials එන්නේ නැහැ. materials ගන්න සමහර dollars and වෙන. නම් මෙතන block එක. ඒ block එක නැතුව manufacturer ට ඒක කරන්න බෑ. Right? Produce කරන්න බෑ. ඊට පස්සේ ආදා කියන සමහර hardware owners ලා shops එකේ නාම එක නැහැ. Right? ඒතර ඒගොල්ලන්ට විකුණන්න විදියක් නැහැ. මොකද එතනින් block වෙනවා. wholesale එකට එන්නේ නැහැ කියන්නේ retail එකට එන්නේ නැහැ. retail එකට එන්නේ නැහැ කියන්නේ අපිටත් නැහැ. So you see the chain, you see the block. So that's why it's important that you manage this whole cycle. What happens during any kind of a place is going to impact to the whole chain. So that's what we need to see. ඒ වගේම right quantity එකකින් එන්නත් ඕනේ, right? order කරේ මෙච්චර metric ton ගාණක් නම් ඒකේ විතර එන්න වෙනවා. right quantity තිබිලා මදි right quality and right price, right prices. ඔය සමහරවල් අපිට වෙනවා even the government do this part instant purchasing. අපි කියන එකට ක්ෂණික මිලදී ගැනීම කියලා. අපි කියන instant notice කියන්නේ ක්ෂණික ඒ වගේ instant purchases කියන්නේ price එක ගොඩාක් වැඩි. ඉක්මනට ගන්න පුළුවන්. සමහරට ඒක waterways එන එක ඉන්නේ airways. right? හදිස්සිනේ. ඒකට අන්න price එක වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒකට instant order process කරද්දී ලොකු cost එකක් යනවා. සමහර අපි නේද ගොඩක් product එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් order කරද්දී price එක අඩුයි. instant purchases හදිස්සි මිලදී ගැනීම වලදී prices වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒතර when are not controlling this whole chain, or maybe because you cannot lose your customers as well, you cannot miss your orders as well, you have to meet the deadlines. So then you are going for instant purchases of the materials, which will have a lot of cost. Some underwater, you know that it's a loss for you, but still you need to maintain your set of customers, so you do that. So this happens when you do not follow the required steps. So things could happen. And also, this is going to impact the warehouse process, procedures, and everything. So you might remember it's the necessity, right? The necessary requirements are there. And the benefits would make the cost saving part, customer satisfaction, to increase the sales, to face the competition out of that. High computer and the government make a manage they meet the deadlines, they provide the best service to the customers, but you are unable to do so. So then you will be out of the competition. So things happens. So I'm going to share some of the key points with you, but I'm not going to ask to write those, right? Because it would be there. So once you receive the cues, so no matter of writing those lengthy notes, right? I really hate that when student has to do those lengthy notes, because it's just matter of the more discussions, more explanation, and less writing. That is what we practice. All right. So I'll just again highlight and explain. You don't have to take this. This would be there with more explanation, but I'm just highlighting a couple of facts. So listen well. So like I said, yes, get the right product to you with the right quantity, with the right time, with the right key back, the right place. Even stock control part product plan කරන්න. මොකද දැන් මේක ගොඩක් related like I said the grade 13 operations management. මොකද ඔයගේ plans ඔක්කොම out of plan වෙනවා නේද? Plans ඔක්කොම අවුල් වෙනවා නෑ ඉතින් materials නෑ. Now imagine what's happening to the construction industry. ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවානේ අපිට සිමෙන්ති නෑ, හදන්න විදියක් නෑ, construction නතර වෙලා. So you might agree with the customer මේ දවස් වෙද්දී අපි මේ building එක මේ නිවස හදලා දෙනවා කියලා. But the product's planning will come out. So maybe, so until that, a lot of costs would be there. Somebody you might still have to pay to the employees, right? Because something like that. It's cost the idling is there. So right, total plan and logistics needed to ensure that all machines and all work centers are getting the work, getting the materials, and they are engaged in the process. Otherwise, like I said, the idle time is created. Make an machines do are not bad, not bad. So they are still waiting for those. So on the time, so due to that time gap, yes, so that the idling time make a created. Anitheka is to minimize the cost, yes. To do the researches, you do the planning requirements, so the buying decisions to minimize the cost. Suddenly, when you go for sudden purchases and instant purchases, end up with huge cost, which will lead to less profits. So then that is not going to work. So those are the necessities. And coming back to the benefits again, sharing this part. So the benefits also I'll roughly go through with you. But I believe that you already have an idea about it. So when you come to the benefits part of it, you can maintain your set of customers, right? You can satisfy the customers because why you have a proper system, and then you minimize the cost because you are working according to the plan. In Apito building do some construction. So you have the phase 1, phase 2 finish at this stage. Likewise, so when you work with the plan, so you need the the deadlines with the plan, so it minimizes the cost because you prepare the plan in order to minimize the cost. The plan cost so you'll be able to follow the plan as it is. And the competition, yes, the high competition out there. So for your business, yes, still you can face the competition well. And unnecessary cost, the monkey unnecessary cost, something like idling, something like overtime. Because then employees like goods stick out materials out make it so you might ask to work overtime, so which you have to pay more. Hourly rate normally daily wage let's say somewhere around 4,000, but maybe 0.5 or some percentage adds. So when you work for the overtime, and the quality is you make sure the quality and the problems are not generated due to proper management, right? So waste management happens as you expect, and you can be the lead of the industry. You can be that the market leader because your logistics is very well organized, right? So again, guys, I'm highlighting the fact that, right, to have this, yes, you need to go to manage the whole cycle. The whole system collapse and it impacts a lot. Sometimes we also face those consequences, and we face the barriers in terms of getting the product in, even though we have the purchasing power, purchasing ability. So that is what you see around nowadays. People are saying, some say like that. So it's not going to really help the end consumer. So that is why having a proper logistics system is pretty much important. So this is along with the transportation as well. Why? Transport, right, to do from the origin to the point of consumption, you need to have a proper system. So it's just a combination of the transportation. You have to get a proper warehousing, and then only you can have a successful logistics system, right? Correct. So that's the plan, guys, about the today's one. So we just completed this one, lesson number 10, about the past paper discussion. I'll make the tube and I'll be sharing. So we have got some days to complete it as well. So we'll discuss on Monday. Maybe like after make a look past papers now, make a lesson. So maybe first 1 hour we utilized. So then after communication lesson, introduction could start Monday. Right, so then Wednesday take it from the next Monday we can start the grade 13 hour. Right, so everyone, so then thank you for joining, and we'll see you with the next session. Right, thank you.